Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode before Christmas of the Barb Wire Bite podcast. I'm here with your host, as always, Gary Wolf, Pitbull One. How's it going today?
What's up, brother? Happy holidays.
We were talking before Hook.
Yeah.
What do you think of Hook? I mean, he was trending on Twitter for 3 days.
Was he? I don't know. I liked it. I got to give him props. No disrespect to Taz, but your kid's got you beat. He's better. Better than you. I was very surprised. He's got good skills. He's got, you obviously can see the judo that he does. You know what I mean? It's obvious. I liked it, man. I'm not going to lie. I was very happy. Now you just got to get some experience, and maybe we can see some good things come up, you know? At least we know he can work. He works pretty good.
And people were into him. Like even my kid on Wednesday when Taz was like, I got an announcement. I got a special announcement later. He's like, they pushed me too far. I'm sending in the Hook. My kid popped. He was like, oh, I can't wait to watch Hook. I can't wait. Everybody wanted to see this kid finally do something. And no, he delivered. He was really good.
He was good. And also you could see he's into like training. I mean, he was in shape. Okay. Where a lot of guys, they don't look like they even step in the gym. But I got to give him props. He looked good. And like I said, he's going to be up and rising. Just take their time with him. You know what I mean? There's no rush. He's still a fucking baby. He's still young. So I would take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Especially.
I popped big time when Trent Beretta came back because I love the Best Friends. And he actually is another one to me, like sexy Chucky T. He don't look like he's seen a gym or a menu of anything diet, but Trent he looks a little weird with the shaved head, but he's actually good shape. He's big. He's believable. He looks like an athlete.
Oh, he could work too. And I like the gimmick with him and his mom, when his mom takes him and drops and brings him to the ring in the van. In the mom's van. Oh, shit.
Now I wonder though, are they gonna leave that whole big unit now that they got that other guy with them in Orange Cassidy, and everybody's got a gang in that company? I mean, Daniel Bryan's like a trendsetter.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like the last time I watched, it's like there's all these cliques. You know, you got the Elite clique, you got, you know, Orange Cassidy's clique, Best Friends guys, you got the Young Guns with their father, all these cliques. And you got the MMA guys, which they're horrible.
Yeah, that needs to go away.
Horrible. I mean, the guy that runs that camp, that MMA camp, he's hilarious. I mean, he cuts good promos. He's not bad.
No.
You know? But, I mean, now I know why Vince released a lot of them guys. You know, they tried to go over there. They can't work. They can't. They're just not, it's not, in their brain, they want to punch your fucking skull inside out. You know what I'm saying? So they can't even throw a work punch. You know, I watched it. It looked bad. It looked bad. You know, so I don't know what they paid Orlovsky and them guys, but I hope it was worth it because it didn't do anything. It didn't do any good for them. You know?
No, and they kept talking about how like, oh, Orlovsky's a natural talent. He's so great. It was like, he was a great UFC fighter. He's got a jaw of powder now, but I didn't think he was a great worker in the ring. He didn't.
Oh, they were horrible.
That
Bro,
match
was horrible. It was horrible. I hate to say that because I hate to say something like that because I know Jericho was involved in it. You know what I mean? But I mean, he did good. But as far as, you know, I mean, his team stepped it up. But those guys, I mean, it's hard for them. They had to work with that crap. Do you see what I'm saying? So for them to try to do it with those guys and make it look good for the TV and shit. I mean, even Jericho couldn't, you know. It wasn't bad. It could have been a lot worse. Put it that way. If Jericho didn't have his guys on his side to pick up the slack, it would have been so much worse. You know.
Did you notice because I like Santana Ortiz, proud and powerful, but did you notice when Eddie Kingston went in the back and that fucking gang, they keep pushing that 2.0 gang or whatever, they jumped Eddie, and I think it was Santana that made the save. The other one wasn't there. I was like, Wonder where the other one is.
No, I remember. I remember that. I just don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I'm just hoping. I'm liking what they're doing with Daniel Bryan right now. I mean, they're trying to. I don't know. They're trying to turn him heel or something. I don't know what they're trying to do. I mean, they can always turn him back to babyface like that. You know what I mean? So, but if they're going to give us a match, him versus Kenny Omega,
I don't think he's winning the belt tomorrow night against Page. That'd be too short of a title reign for all that build.
no, I wouldn't give him the belt already.
What'd you think of Punk cutting the heel promo and then MJF getting the big babyface reaction in his hometown? I thought that was great.
They're just fucking going with it. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. That's what I like about it. I mean, I don't see people. I mean, they're walking around with their, itineraries and shit like that, but it's like they're not walking around with the scripts in their hands like Vince would be. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys can ride free. I mean, that's why he has great promos. You know what I mean? You don't have anybody telling him what to say. He knows what he's saying.
And I like the Dynamite Battle Royal. I like that Dante Martin kid. I really like him, 20 years
They're
old.
pushing that kid. Yeah, he's good. And he's young. And what happened? His brother broke his leg or something like that?
Yeah, and if this kid ain't careful, he's gonna do the same thing with those insane fucking backflips he does.
Like I said, man, these guys don't, they think, I don't know, they're not thinking in their mind future. They're thinking of today and what they're going to do today because they're on TV and they're fucking high on life right now. They're rolling right now. So they're going to do whatever they want to do. It ain't going to stop them.
See, I wouldn't do that. Like if I wrestled, and I would be more like, to me, the guy that made the most money. That's all he did, Hogan. A leg drop, a boot, a clothesline, and a body slam. He didn't do nothing else. And look at the career. I mean, he fucked up his back with slamming Andre, but even Austin, stunner Thez press or The Rock, he did the elbow. The top guys didn't kill themselves in the ring.
No, they have their 4 or 5 moves that they would do every night. You know what I mean? And that's what's good about being on the road when you're working and you're working a lot of days on the road. And you're working a lot of matches, and what's cool is you could just, say you're working the same guy, 2 nights in a row, 3 nights in a row. You could just say, okay, let's do what we did last night, and we'll add a couple things. It makes it like a night off, and then you build that up to when you're, the next time you're on TV, and that's when they should put you on TV with that guy, and because you had 3 or 4 times in the ring with him already on the road, so when you're on TV, you guys should be clicking like no tomorrow.
Now, Bret Hart the other day, who seems just like a bitter old man, he did an interview and he said, I want to get your opinion on this. He said Hulk Hogan didn't know a headlock from a headlamp or a headlight, something like that. He said, couldn't do nothing. He only had 3 moves, just bad-mouthed and beyond belief. Do you think that's just jealousy?
Probably, yeah. Because that's not true. You know what I mean? Hogan knew how to work the people. I mean, fuck, man. Nah, he's just better. Yeah, I remember Hogan made all the money. Hogan got paid the most money. But also, these guys are not saying this. Back in the day, they would say it, or some people would. But they should be thanking him.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be making the change in the cash that they were making if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. Okay? Because he got those fucking buildings sold the fuck out. Everywhere they went. I remember working for them in the 80s. They had fucking 3 cities going at one day, on one night. So, I seen it firsthand. And to me, it was amazing, but I also noticed how they took care of the top guys and, gave them jobbers to work with and just shine on, at this, house show or wherever we were at. And then when it was TV time, they still would do job guys and shit like that because they would build up for their pay-per-views. I mean, it's amazing some of the matches that AEW gives you for free. Compared to I mean, I would always say, because I'm old school, you build it up on TV. So when it's time to do the pay-per-view, people will watch it,
Yeah,
Don't
you have
give it
4
to 'em-
months to build your stories.
Yeah, but don't give it to them for free, like you're showing it on regular television. It's like, nah, man, you got to build that shit up.
It's like when WCW gave away the Hogan Goldberg match. They could have made millions of dollars on pay-per-view with that, but they did it to get a rating.
That's stupid. Ratings, I mean, their ratings are the shits anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, I just saw a thing on Facebook. Half the building was empty practically. They jammed everybody up in one side. The whole place was fucking half empty. So, I mean, they're paying an arm and a leg for those buildings. I don't even think they're making the money to pay it. You know what I mean?
AEW, I really liked when they spent during the pandemic, when they spent all that time in Florida there at Daly's place. I love that building. If they could do TV from there every week, I would be happy. It was such a neat little building.
It's awesome over there. And shit, it's only not even 3 hours from me for a drive from me.
I mean, why tour if you don't have to? If that's your dad's building, I get you on tour to make money and merch and all that, but I mean, they had it made there. They had that, for a year they were there. God, when they left, I was almost sad.
Yeah, that's the Jaguar Stadium. I mean, it's beautiful here. It's half indoor, half outdoor. It's hooked up. I mean, they still have it. I mean, I think they're doing a lot of like I would do pay-per-views there just because it's that big. You know what I'm saying? And I know they were in Detroit last time they did pay-per-view. Or was it Chicago?
No, Chicago was on with Punk. Was it Minnesota?
Minnesota might have been. Yeah, it might have been Minnesota.
I mean, they get good.
But
they do in Greensboro. They do good business.
Well, Carolinas, man, they're gonna love it. They're gonna sell out there. Definitely. Like I said, I was on the road 6 days a week over there doing an independent South Atlantic pro wrestling company. But we'd have guys like, Steamboat pop up, Big John Studd pop up. We'd have the Malenko brothers pop up. So it was cool. A lot of New Japan guys and a lot of Vince McMahon guys would pop up. So it was cool. It was like they were preparing us. They were breeding us to get ready. Even when we went down to SWA, Memphis, I mean, with Robert Fuller, the Stud Stable. So we were ready. They knew what they were doing with us. I mean, I remember we went and did that run for 2 weeks, and that was a rough one because you're driving a lot of miles, man, when you were working there. But we had it made. We were with Robert Fuller, and we got a good push over there. They couldn't. It wasn't like we went there and looked bad. We went there and looked strong. It was good.
I always liked Robert Fuller. I liked his gimmick he was in WCW and he was against the Dustin Rhodes. He had the Stud Stable and everything. I thought he was a very good personality on air, and they brought him WWE with Jarrett, and it just, I don't know, it didn't. But I don't like Jeff Jarrett. I mean, Jeff Jarrett could be the nicest guy in the world and save homeless kids from fires, but in Ding Ding Ding, I never want to see him.
Yeah, he's overrated. Plus, he looked at me the one day, and we were across from each other at a signing. And he's looking at me like he's trying to remember me. I'm like, yo, you remember me. You used to give me the paychecks because your dad would hand them to you, and then you'd hand them to us. And always tell us, oh, yeah, you get it. Here's what was it? A draw, they called it back in the day. You take out, here's $50 a night. Here, we're giving you a draw, $50. $50. You have some money in your pocket, $50. You get a check at the end of the week. We never got no check. Jarrett never gave us a check. And we sold out a lot of buildings too over there. I was going against Jerry Lynn back then. That was way before ECW.
I used to watch USWA. The only thing I didn't like is that shit TV show in that studio, but was just to get you to go to the Coliseum on Monday nights. But then they wouldn't show anything for Monday. That's, I guess, somebody watched on TV. It was like, because you just watch for the interviews, but I was like, all right, let's see some highlights. Why aren't they selling a tape of this? Or that was the only thing I thought was stupid, because I heard those crowds at the Coliseum were just insane on Monday.
They were nuts, man. We were sold out. We were selling out like crazy. I mean, I remember we went to that little shit TV fucking studio.
It's hard to
And
watch.
the one guy that was there, what was his name? A little short dude with glasses and a beard. He was a manager.
That was that Downtown Bruno or Whippleman or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Brunel, yeah, whatever. I think that was him because he was like, "Oh man, let me manage you guys," and I'm like, "We're in the stud stable." But Robert was cool with him, you know. He's like, "Yo, if you want to, you could be in the stable with us since we are here now. This makes it better because he was there as a manager." And yeah, he wanted to manage us. We were cool with it. He was cool.
I mean, I would watch I'd have to get the tapes, and it would be there's 10 people there and everything. But that was how NWA. I liked how they did it with Crockett because they were in that same little 30 people in the building, but they would set everything up for the big shows, and then they'd at least show you highlights and packages.
Yeah,
It wasn't just 2 hours straight of job match or 30-second job match, 2-minute interview.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, it was different. You look back and see ours, man. You'll be like, because we look. I mean, look at the Hardys when they were there. They look like little kids, little
Still
boys.
do.
You see, look up pit bulls with stud stable, and you'll see us there, and you're gonna be like, holy shit! Like we were fucking jacked, dude, and we were just as young as the Hardys when they were there. You know,
A lot of talent came out of there, though. I mean, with Sid,
everybody went through there.
everybody went through there.
Everybody went through there. Everybody, you know, and we fucking beat the shit out of the guys on that fucking show. I mean, that was why we were there. They wanted us straight up beat the shit out of these guys, you know, and they were fighting back these guys, you know what I mean? They knew they were doing jobs, but they were like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get my shit in. And I remember we were like, nah, it ain't happening, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening. I know this is what we have to do. This is our job. So I remember we shut that down real quick.
Was there ever a team you guys hated working with? Like, just you'd see the name on the board, but fuck.
Nah, I mean, I really can't say. No, even the older guys, I never really had a problem. Like I'd rather work, like when I used to go to Vince and we would work all the tag teams up there. I mean, that was awesome because that was just great experience for us. So, but if I had to work, like say for instance, they split us up and they put me and Sid Vicious, like one time they put me and Sid Vicious together against the Steiner brothers. So I'm like, all right, what's going to happen in this match? You know what I mean? The Steiners are going to go over. I'm going to get blamed for it. Sid's going to kill me. I mean, that's what I knew was going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. That's what they called in the back. And I'm like, it ain't going to be anything better than that. You know what I mean? I just remember Sid hit me with this power bomb and I'm like up on his shoulders. I'm just like, wow, man, this is high. I mean, I'm up there. You don't realize how tall he is until
he's a big boy. I've met him. He's a big guy.
Yes, when I first met him, it was down south. Like I said, I met him, Taker, who wasn't even the Taker then yet.
Mean Mark.
Yeah, he was Mean Mark, and Sid, because Robert Fuller had a big influence in Sid Vicious, you know, working and stuff like that. I think he trained him. You know, I think he trained a couple guys.
Sid was nice. Sid
was cool, man. I called him Sidney. That's what Robert Fuller told me to call him. He's like, you call him Sidney. Because you're my pit bull dogs. That's what he would call us, pit bull dogs.
Sid never should have jumped off that top rope.
Dude, when he broke his leg, I couldn't believe that, man. I've seen that happen before when I was in South Atlantic. One of the guys, he was one of the workers that just was on the road with us. He mostly did jobs, but he had some talent, and he would do a drop kick off the top. And I remember one night, man, I was standing there and he broke his freaking leg. I mean, the bone came out, man. I was like, oh shit. Like I've seen that, and then something crazy in Japan that was pretty sick too. And but yeah, I'd never seen, you know, and when Sid did it, it was like he did it more than once too, right?
I just remember he came off and just fell, and that leg just
snapped,
flopped. And he had no business. I mean, maybe I'm like Cornette, sound old, but a guy that big, he don't need to be on the ropes. He doesn't need to do anything high flying.
He should have never left his feet.
No.
His feet should have never left the mat. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. So, but the yeah, that's why you see all these big guys that Vince has. I mean, he tells them, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You're going to step over that top rope to get in that ring to show how tall you are. I want to make sure you do that. And no drop kicks, you're going to just do one or two moves, choke slam. That's what they did to Paul White. I mean, that guy actually could work at one point. He was just so big. It was like they told him not to. I mean, he went to the factory. I mean, he was doing shit there that I never saw a guy his size do at that point. You know what I mean? Because I would stop in there and just check it out. Because when I seen, he would come, he started working with me at Delilah's Den. It was a strip joint in South Philadelphia. And we were just making extra money, when we weren't wrestling. And he ended up, a friend of mine that worked there got him a job there. And I was just like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm working here. I'm like, oh shit, cool. All right. It's good having a guy with your size here. You can get in out here, you have the front door, motherfucker. I say, go to the front door, that's where you're going. But yeah, I used to bring him bags of food and shit back in the day. He had a tag team partner. They actually were a tag team when they were going to the Monster Factory. And he was another big cat, this guy that was with him. And I guess once Hulk Hogan realized, there was a giant at the fucking Monster House, he got on a fucking plane and flew to fucking Jersey or Philly, whatever, drove to the factory and met him and said, you're coming to me. You're going down south.
Made him Andre's kid.
Yeah, they put him right in the power plant, right off the bat. And Sarge beat the shit out of him, and Paul worked his way through there. I mean, that ain't no joke, that fucking place. Sarge is like me, man. He's brutal. He puts you through hell. He makes you do 500 free squats. I'll make you do maybe 300, but he pushes you to 500. He's a fucking maniac.
And if you didn't do it, did they kick you out?
You would collapse and have to crawl out. You know what I'm saying? And the cabs would be there waiting. I mean, you should see the lines of guys that would be thinking that they could be a pro wrestler and show up there and get their ass, like within an hour, you see guys dropping.
See, I just want to be a manager. I just want to talk.
I think they still put you guys through that shit because you got to know how to bump, man, to be a manager.
Oh, I'll bump. I'll take a fall on cement.
Yeah, I mean, once you learn how to bump, you can. But you, like I said, like even referees, man, they put referees through hell too because they got to be conditioned also. You can't be slow referee. You have to be there for that count. If you're not, you're gonna look like shit.
That's what I want to ask you. The big news of the week: TMZ picked up on the news. Hannibal, I don't know him, Devin Nichols, has a YouTube channel, Hannibal TV. Yeah. I watched his shoot interviews. You were on there once. He wrestles as the Blood Hunter. Well, apparently he wrestled a referee, and he had the old Sullivan gimmick, the Asiatic spike. And he gigged this ref so many times, he caused an artery to break, hemorrhage in his brain. The ref passed out. He's got fucking surgeries and everything. The company said, we don't want this guy anymore here ever again. And Hannibal was just like, well, we had the spot worked out. I didn't know he was in pain, but I mean, if you watch him, he's on top of this guy, just gigging the fuck out of him. And
in other words, that referee wouldn't gig himself. He told a guy who does a podcast and he puts a hood on now and wants to be a wrestler, and they're letting him gig the referee.
Yeah, and he gigged him. Let's pull up the news. Well, I think he's trained. I believe he was trained by Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie for some of our younger.
Well, he is from Canada. Yeah, he is from Canada.
Let's see. Let's just go to TMZ. And the ref was like, well, I couldn't really tell him to stop because the 300-pound man laying on me. It says, nope, I don't want to look at Ben Affleck's marriage. Let's see. The referee, Nicholson says the referee was supposed to bleed from razor blade cuts, and I assumed he actually cut himself with razor blades. Never gave any indication he was any pain. And if you watch the footage, I thought he was selling, not legitimately hurt. He says him and the ref said they were cool, but it looked like he took an iron spike, and you can watch the footage online. He took an iron
I
spike
saw it.
and he was stabbing him with it. I mean, that he fucked that poor guy up. I mean, bad, but I wouldn't let somebody fucking gig me with the spike.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Would you let New Jack cut your head open?
Fuck no. I'd let maybe
no.
I mean, like I'd let maybe Bret Hart, Ric Flair, somebody that's I know I wouldn't. I mean, it's just I can do it myself.
You don't let nobody.
No, I know where to stop.
Yeah, nobody ever gigs you. You always gig yourself. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, look at the well, we're here because I can't pull it on the screen. Look at the footage. I'm gonna send you the link. And now everybody's calling for this guy's head.
Yeah, I heard he's a lot of wrestling commissions are like he's not allowed to work there no more. He can't do this, can't do that. And then he had his girlfriend with him as well.
I just sent you the article. If you open up and scroll down a little bit, you'll see the footage.
I saw the footage.
I mean, he messed that guy up.
I mean, he gave them a lot, man, and there was a lot of gigs.
Who let you gig somebody with a spike? I mean, at least a razor, you go like that. A spike, you've got to actually poke yourself.
You're really tearing him up. Yeah, he's that's a lot worse. I mean, hopefully the ref was doing it himself. I mean, maybe he just hit an artery by accident. Because
I don't know. I looked at the holes in this ref's head, and they weren't slash marks. They were fucking holes.
They were pretty big.
They were all over too.
Yeah, they look like he used that spike a couple times. No joke. He busted them open with it. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think that's Jazz's company and Rodney Mack's company, right?
Yeah, I think they're out of Texas or something like that.
Yeah. When I was with Jazz, I was talking to her about that company. She runs she's in charge of all the girls for it. And I happen to manage her and Angel Orsini. Orsini. Where Jazz is one of Jazz's retirement matches up in, what was that, Connecticut, I think we were? Yeah, Connecticut. And, I was talking to Jazz about that. And she was asking me questions about Hannibal too. So,
I mean,
I was actually surprised that he'd be working because I didn't know he worked.
I know him from the YouTube. I think he had a WWE tryout, but yeah, at the time he had Hep C or something. I think that he said he got from Abdullah and tried to sue him and all that. But
that was him?
Yeah, that was him. The one that said he got Hep from Abdullah and he didn't get the contract.
God. Wow. Didn't even know that was him.
Well, and then the other dumb thing though to me, the two dumb things for me is why? This is not a television show in the first place. Why do a spot where you bloody a referee that bad at a house show that's not even recorded? That doesn't make sense. And two, I kind of know the guy too. He would do those worked shoots where he'd be like with Billy Jack Haynes, like, you fucking punk, or with Lanny Poffo, and he'd slap him and they're like, look at what happened. It was like, this is the fakest thing I've ever seen. These work shoot, there's no such thing. It's one or the other.
No, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. I think he's just marking out, man. He wants to be in our business. That's what it comes out to be. I mean, like I said, I told Jazz, I said, I did not know he's a worker. I had no idea, but I had a feeling it was him because I've seen him come out before because I've watched a couple of things and I'm like, what's he doing with the hood on? I'm thinking, I know he's covering his face for a reason. You don't want nobody to see it's him. But then again, I said, I didn't know he could work. I didn't know he was trained. So.
Yeah, he always said he has I don't know the deal, but apparently he has some beef with Kevin Owens. And I think for me, I understand. I think the beef is because Kevin Owens is all the way up here. They went to the same school together. Maybe he thought he was better, but Owens is here. This guy's doing YouTube.
I can't listen. Your arm is not low enough. I shouldn't even be able to see it. Okay, it should be like Kevin Owens. He's, the next level down. You know what I mean? Big difference.
I watched some of his shoot interviews. I saw yours. He did Hack, Sabu. I mean, he does a lot, but
I don't even remember doing that interview, bro. I have to tell you, I do not remember that.
He kind of, my thing is kind of like the thing with the RF video shoots. Same 10 questions that they ask every single guy. There's no differentiate. How'd you get started in the business? It's the same few. Nobody asks. I try to watch every interview humanly possible before I interview somebody, so I can ask them what no one else asked them before.
Oh yeah, I was watching one. I don't know if it was Hannibal or not, but they had a honky tonk man in the car, and they were asking him a couple questions about steroids and where the boys get the steroids, and he's like, "Man, shit, we go to Mexico, we can get them. We go to Germany, we can get them. We got doctors in the States that are giving them to us."
I love the honky tonk man.
He's like, "Did you take them?" "Yeah, I fucking took them."
Yeah.
At one point, I took them. Everybody took them. Then they were interviewing a bunch of guys about the juice, like even superstar Billy Graham, Lex Luger. He even admitted to it. But like exactly like Lex Luger said. As long as you don't abuse it, you're smart. You do a cycle, you take off like you're supposed to, go back on a cycle, do it the right way, and you get good results. You know what I mean? And you don't have any problems. That's what happened.
Billy Graham was the innovator of steroids. I mean, that guy was probably shooting Clorox in his arms.
You got to remember, man, superstar, my man, baby, he fucking would work out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All the top guys in Southern Venice Beach, California, bro. So he was getting the goody goods. Okay. And that's why he was a monster. And I loved his gimmick, superstar Billy Graham. I loved it.
He could talk. Him and Ventura, I thought, were two of the best heel talkers ever.
Yes.
Especially for that era.
Oh, absolutely. They're top five anyway, at least.
Sadly, now Soup just complains about things.
Who's that?
Superstar. He just complains now.
Oh yeah, there's nothing else to do now. Why bitter? I mean, he was one of the best guys they had. I mean, I remember watching it with my grandpa. When he was there and he was over. He had the belt. They would do the arm wrestling matches sometimes. You know what I'm saying? They'd have all kinds of cool shit. The bench press competition. I was young, man. But he was like over. Mil Mascaris, another guy who was unbelievable. I was talking to Fonzie a couple of days ago. I said, "Were you ever on the road with Mil Mascaris?" He's like, "Yeah, I was on the road with him. Like we did a 3-month stretch." And he said, "No bullshit. That man never took his mask off. Even in the shower, that motherfucker had a mask on. Like they had showers at the building. He would shower with his mask on, man. He would never take that mask. Like I'm telling you, Fonzie told me he never saw him through that whole tour with that mask on." So,
El Santo. I'm a huge I have an El Santo mask. A girl I'm friends with brought it back from Arena to Mexico when she went on her honeymoon. I watched his movies. I still watch them. I think they're great. I like the I have a lot of lucha masks. I'm a big, and to me that's genius. Like, take the hood off. No one knows who you are. You have the utmost privacy in the world. You just blend in with the crowd. Unless you're like Penta, where you're tattooed from head to shoulder, you might get popped. But other than that, it's great.
You know what? I remember I was with Barbarian. I call him Barb. And we were at a WrestleCade. I remember he's like, "Yeah, I want to meet that guy. I want to meet him, because he looks so big on TV. I want to see him." I'm like, "All right, we'll go down there. We'll say hello, When we went up to him, I didn't realize he's not big at all, dude. I mean, he's muscular big, but he's not like a monster tall big. I mean, Barb is still the Barbarian. He made him still like a little kid. Still, I was like, "Holy shit!" I said, and even Barb was just like, "Wow, he looks so much bigger on television," And I was just like, holy shit. But he was cool, a real nice guy. I liked what he did in that Lucha Underground.
Oh, I love Lucha Underground.
Yeah, that was good. I like
I I think it's great that like because Phoenix is probably the best high flyer out there right now,
Oh
and
yeah.
he does all these moves. And Penta does some moves, but the majority is just and
Yeah.
he's 10 times more over for doing less. I think that shows you how charismatic he is, so to speak.
Uh yeah. So he'll put a little dance in there, like what's his name used to do.
Before he would chop, he'll go
Yeah.
like that. He
No,
just knows how to work
he's
the
starting to
crowd.
get, I think he's starting to understand the psychology of American wrestling. You know what I mean? Phoenix, he's just a kid that came out of Mexico, bro. He was just hoping to get lucky, and he did. I mean, and he's unbelievable. He's a great worker. Sometimes he overdoes it. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes he just goes too much. Like some of these matches, I'm like, dude, that would have been a fucking unbelievable. That would have been a great finish. He didn't
Especially
have
the
to
dive
continue.
off the cage. That was the
Yeah.
finish. Didn't need to go another 6 minutes.
No, that it was over right there. I mean, it was done. That's one thing that they do, which I hope soon they learn not to do because they could save their asses big time. Plus save a lot of moves for other matches. You know what I'm saying? But they
I like the Bucks. I think they're a great tag team, but I remember when the super kick was a finish.
say that again. I'm sorry, bro.
I remember when the super kick was a finish. Like if I threw a Sabat kick at you, you're not getting up. And that's real life. Young Bucks throw 75 of them a match.
That's that's what I'm saying. It's like my girl even says, like, I'm like, I looked at my girl that one night and said, I thought a fucking super kick's a finish. You know what I mean? Like and now everybody, even the knee, everybody does the knee.
Spanish fly is cool. You see 30 of them a match. That's a
No,
finish.
I know. Listen, let me tell you something. Nobody was doing those moves before the SATs. Okay, the SATs, they're my boys. They're Spanish guys from New York. They were doing that shit. Nobody knew what the fuck it was back in the day. And nobody gives them credit for it, man. I don't understand that. But they're an unbelievable tag team. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, they were the guys that started that shit. And they started that in probably Combat Zone and probably Ring of Honor and shit like that, back in the day.
I got a question I want to ask you today. I even made the little pretty picture for it for the graphic. When Hall and Nash, they left Vince, they go to WCW, they form the NWO.
Yeah.
What would have happened if Hall and Nash were like, because I know Hall and Heyman, it's well documented, they kind of liked each other a little bit. What if they said, we don't want to go to WCW, we're going to go to ECW? How would that have worked if you would have had, I know it wouldn't have ever happened, but if Hogan, Hall, and Nash would have came to ECW as the NWO, what do you think would have happened?
I think Vince would have had a fucking heart attack. First of all, that's number one. Second, we'd be fucking over like Rover. I mean, we would actually probably be bringing in ratings like WCW or competing with WWF, put it that way. I mean, we had a cult following, and then you add those guys in the mix, part of WCW, part of WWF fans. I think we would have struck a big chord. I think Paul would have came up with an idea to make it work. I don't think Shane Douglas would have liked it.
No. Would the crowd have accepted those three?
No, I think they would have shit on them like motherfuckers, man. Big time. And that's what would have made the gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Because they're successful. Like we were getting guys that were coming in that were losing jobs. Rick Rude came, he lost his job. Stone Cold came over, he lost his job. You see what I'm saying? What's his name? The crazy guy.
Pillman.
Yeah, I mean, he got fired, he came over. Everybody who got let go would come to ECW. They all wanted to work in ECW. I mean, I even talked to guys that worked for Vince that said they'd get back to the hotel, take a shower, go lay in bed, and what came on at 2 o'clock in the morning? ECW. And they sat there and watched it and loved it, and it's cool here. And, I'm sitting there with a guy that was in the Powers of Pain, one of the biggest fucking guys out there. And he told me straight up, I used to love watching ECW because we loved it. You guys killed it because we were, doing what we did every night, which was practically nothing. And you guys were killing it, going through tables, using chairs, using weapons, letting fans come in with weapons. I mean, you definitely changed the business. After that one night stand, he even said it was totally different. We had to work so much harder.
Do you think Hall and Nash and Hogan, do you think they would have had if they would have came over there, could they have had a long run?
No, I would have been short. They wouldn't have been able to, what would have happened was they would have did their style, not changed our style. You know what I'm saying, is what I'm saying. And, you got to remember back then, Hogan was fucked. His back was fucked up bad then, and his knees then. So, and I'm sure Nash and Hall weren't in the greatest shape either. You know what I'm saying? I know Nash, he blew his quads like 4 or 5 times.
Walking.
Just walking.
Walking to the ring, and that's the sign of the steroid stretching your skin, in my opinion.
Well, that's the sign of your muscles getting stronger than your tendons. Yeah, there's a problem there. I had the same problem. Everybody had, a lot of guys had that problem, but it's a side effect. That's what happens when like I said, your tendons, ligaments, your muscle gets stronger than them. And it's just going to pop them off. That's why I realized, I said, I'm glad I didn't go too heavy when I was younger, but I went heavy enough that I'm feeling it now, But it's cool. I dropped 20 pounds. I didn't lose any size. I mean, I look bigger than I did, if anything.
Do you think Paul could have got Douglas to work with them?
He would have had to really sit down and give him a speech and a half to get him on board with that. I just know Shane wouldn't have went for it. You know what I mean? Unless Shane had a top spot with them. You know what I mean? He had to be involved in it somehow.
Shane he worked Flair when he did that last run of his in WCW. They had a mini feud that I think Russo booked, but it wasn't. The only thing that I thought dumb about that was, and it was what I thought was bad about Russo's booking in general, if you didn't read the sheets, you didn't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, they expected everyone to know the history of Shane Douglas and Ric Flair. It was, that was insider stuff. There was not really much internet back then.
Oh, I mean, from what I see, fucking Flair can't stand Shane Douglas.
No,
he hates him with a passion. I mean, I was very surprised when I heard that promo. Man, he was or that interview. He just said straight up, he totally crushed him.
Is that the one where he said, "Who the fuck is he? He's a clerk at Kmart." That one.
Yeah. I was shocked. But, Flair is going to tell you like it is.
Well, he badmouthed Flair for what, 20-something years? And he was in another company. It wasn't like he was trying to work an angle.
Yeah, I think he was trying to work an angle somehow to get Flair there or get him there to work Flair. He wanted to work Flair. I don't know what other reason it would be. I mean, I don't know why I got along with Ric Flair. My partner got along with Ric Flair. He liked us. I mean, we'd go out with him when we lived in North Carolina, and we were working for South Atlantic, and NWA was there. I mean, every time they were local, they would end up back in Charlotte at a club, and we would end up at that same fucking club because they would call us and tell us to meet them there because we knew all the guys. You know what I mean? We would see them every weekend almost. So. We were, like I said, I'm not lying. We were working for South Atlantic for Vince to get ready to work for Vince. And I was trying to get us in. I'm talking to Magnum to try to get us a job at fucking NWA. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was doing.
Well, I think it was all like, as Shane said something like he thought he should have worked with Flair, but Flair was booking and he worked with Pillman. But my thing was
Well, with that spot.
Pillman was a hot commodity. Shane was a dynamic dude. And I liked Shane, but if I was in that spot, I'm not going to take the guy with the skateboard and the tag team. I'm going to take this young high flying kid that everybody's going crazy for.
It's true. It's true. I mean, he was telling me. I remember he did an interview one day, and I listened to it. And he was like, he didn't understand why me and my partner were a tag team. I'm like, are you fucking high? What are you talking about? I said, I'm thinking to myself, we look fucking great as a tag team. I said, you watch our matches and watch how we work together. We're in sync. We're out of the ring together. We're in the ring together. We know what the other one's thinking, and we don't even have to look at each other. That's a tag team wrestling. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you got to watch Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies when Shane cuts to promo on being fucked over by Ric Flair, Vince McMahon, and Paul Heyman in the movie.
He did that in that. See, I'm so glad I didn't do that movie.
Somebody was like, you got to take the evil promoter. You got to do this. I've been jerked around by Todd Gordon and fucked up. It's like, what the fuck? He's got a promo in the middle of a movie.
Oh my God. I was supposed to be in that movie. I was so glad I didn't do it. When I seen it, I was like, wow, thank God I wasn't in that movie.
Matt Hardy had the best part. He just made out with his wife. I didn't hate the movie. It was unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah, it was like they tried to make it a serious zombie movie, and it couldn't be further from the truth.
No, I just always wondered how Shane got the lead role, and then he cuts the promo. It was like
it was his buddy that was doing the movie. Of course, he's going to get the lead role. I mean, he wouldn't do it unless he's got the lead role. That's just how he is, you know.
I was a mark for Shane. I won't say.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember going to WCW. I think this was after ECW, and Shane was working for them, and I was walking in the building, and he walked right by and acted like he didn't even know who the fuck I was. I remember that day. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're acting like that, you fucking motherfucker!" And this is in Philly. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this son of a bitch. I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? After you broke my fucking neck, you're just gonna blow me off? Like you think I'm not like people don't want me to work here or something?" You don't realize I was invited there. You know what I mean? Bischoff and them guys, they'd call me recruiting them from the jet, from fucking WCW's private jet, and say, meet us at the state, come to the building. I'm like, man, yeah, me and Anthony will be there, no problem. You know, if you use us, we use us. If not, it's talk business. You know, and they're like, hell yeah. They always wanted us. We just never clicked until once we gave Paul our release. You know, that's when we said we'll jump. I just didn't realize Vince was going to buy WCW and ECW. You know, I had a great fucking contract lined up, sitting there waiting. All we had to do was sign it, man.
Well, think about what Douglas when Malenko, Guerrero it was Malenko, Guerrero, Benoit, and Saturn all went to WWE. He always said he was supposed to be part of that group, but they fucked him and went without him and negotiated the deal. I mean, he had a lot of heat, I'm assuming, from his failed run as the Dean. I probably wouldn't have taken him with me as a package deal.
No, those guys were smart. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Perry took my spot. I had blown my knee. I had to get my knee surgery. Okay. I went down because Raven was going to bring me in. I was going to be in his flock, you know, for a little bit until Anthony was ready. And then we were going to, you know, tag back up again. They didn't want to sign me because I was going through rehab with my knee. I had to get better first. So they took Perry instead, which is cool. It worked out all right. There's a reason for everything, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I like Perry.
Yeah, he was great. Perry, great worker. I mean, a feather. I mean, he's one of them guys who had throw beautiful elbows off the top rope, man. It's like a feather hitting you. You know what I mean? He's very talented in the ring.
When he went to WCW and he got the title, I got to ask if there was heat with Taz, because when he went over there, he was calling himself the most dangerous man, which Taz was calling himself. He was doing all suplexes, which Taz did. It was like, is he mad at Taz? Is this a little kind of insulting him a little bit on national
That,
TV?
that may have been a rib between them two because me and Anthony ran the ECW school in Philly, and then Taz and Perry Saturn ran the ECW school in New York. So that's how that was. So pretty much Perry was tied to Taz by the hip. You know what I mean? And that's where he was. And for him, he was kissing ass to the New York clique at that time. You know, Todd Gordon, Sandman, Public Enemy, you know, most of us, Scorpio, you know, we had a Philadelphia clique, you know, and that's how it was. I mean, in our locker room. Yeah, but we all got along with each other. It wasn't like we didn't, you know, but that every clique would try to take over. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were in Philly, you know, we would try to take, like, this is our locker room. This is what we're doing. And they would do the same thing in New York. So it was kind of strange, like I said, because our locker room was so much different than anybody else's locker room. We were able to do a lot of shit on our own. Paul would give us like 3 minutes of his time and say, look, this is what I want to see. I want you guys against you guys. Give me 30 minutes. Give me a good 30 minutes, you know, and I want a good finish, you know. And pretty much that's all he would say. And then we would go and set it up, you know, and we wouldn't even run it by him. He would sit there at the monitor watching every match like we were, because in our locker room, if you were first match, I mean, that the second match had to be better. If you were second match, I mean, third match had to be better. If you were third match, fourth match had to be better. So we're watching, you know, we're getting up to the point where we're like semi-main event, main event, you know, when we were in ECW every night. And we're like, oh shit, okay, we're semi-main and we got to do better than that last 6th, 7th match. And it wasn't like it was difficult to do, but we had to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's when we would do our tag team shit. Every time we would do a match on television, me and my partner would come up with a new tag just to do on TV. Every single time, every match. One night we used this one called the guillotine, where actually I think Anthony sat on the top or I sat on the top. One of us suplexed the one guy up. The other guy held his neck, went out for a neck breaker. The other guy went down for a power bomb. A sit-it out tiger bomb, actually. We knocked out Stevie Richards. First time ever doing it, man, and we knocked him out. I was like, oh, I felt so bad. Because he was snoring. Because I had him by the neck. I actually had his head, and Anthony had his body. And we hit him with it. I mean, it looked devastating. Everybody was asking, what was that move? What was that move? I said it was called the guillotine. I just came up with a name. You know, I didn't know what the fuck to call it. I just knew it was scary because it did knock him out. So
I've actually
he forgave us.
I got a Stevie question for you, because I've only heard this a few times. He left, went WCW, where he was a big star with Raven for 3 weeks, and then he came back to ECW, and apparently, like, he asked, I'm just basing up, this is what I heard from the Bubba, and he said, you know, he asked Nova and the Meanie to cut his shirt, his little half shirt and all that, and Bubba was like, he said it in an interview, you know, he had so much heat on him, why we had to take him in the back room and straighten him out. And I was like, the hell could somebody like Stevie Richards have big heat for coming back to the company? He was lower in the card.
I think Bubba and Devon, especially Bubba, I think he was a little out of his fucking mind at that point because he was on top like a motherfucker. And I remember when he came there, he couldn't even cut a promo, not alone stutter. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I give him props for getting better and better in his business, you know, in his endeavors and all that shit. But he's still the same person he was when he first walked in the door. You know what I mean? You can't change that dramatically. You know what I'm saying?
What he should do is mail a thank you card to Perry Saturn every day of his life, because if the Eliminators, if Cronus would have got hurt and Saturn wouldn't have left, they wouldn't have got a push. Dude, I firmly believe that.
Brother, I'm going to tell you right now, 3 different occasions, we had the belts, and I got injured, and we had to drop them to the Dudley boys because I was hurt. Okay, I had went through a stage everybody has it. You have a bunch of injuries that just come upon you, man. If it wasn't my tricep, it was my bicep. If it wasn't my bicep, it was my knee. If it wasn't my knee, it was my neck. It was like one thing after another. I mean, luckily I was able to spin the broken neck gimmick around into a huge angle. That worked great. But I don't know. I mean, Anthony's probably to this day still pissed. I mean, we had to drop the straps at least 3 times. And I know 2 of them were to the Dudley boys easily the next night because I got injured. You know what I mean? Like the night we won the straps with that #1 match in 1995 against Stevie Richards and Raven.
Great match.
Dog collar match.
Yep.
The night before that match, I blew my tricep in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. I had worked out that day like an idiot. I slingshotted myself in for the move, hit the guy with a shoulder tackle, hit the ground. Usually I would land on my feet, but he didn't come hard at me enough. So I had to like stretch out, hit him, and then drop down, and I would just push off my tries and land back on my feet. So I did that, and what it did was pop my tricep right off the tendon. It just popped it, because I did arms that day like a moron. I remember driving home, it was cold, and I had a big ice pack on my tricep with my left tricep. And we actually broke down that night in our car. And we pulled over on the side of the road. We were fucking pissed. Here comes Paul Heyman with Taz and Tommy Dreamer and a couple other guys from New York. And they squeezed us in and got us back to Philly. I had to get up early that Saturday morning. Before that night, we were having that huge show at the arena. I had to go all the way down 76, get my car, tow it all the way home, do all that shit with a torn tricep. Okay, didn't even bother going to the hospital. Just went to the arena, taped it up that night, and worked that match with one arm. And turned out to be one of the best matches in '95.
Oh, yeah, it's a hell of a match. I remember when, I think it was your partner, pile drove Raven through the table. That table
Raven put him.
And that table like crumpled on spot. I remember the minute they got up there, it was like,
yeah. Even when I tell guys, if I put them on the table and say I'm gonna DDT them, I tell them as soon as we go up, just go with me. I'm dropping right to my ass. I said, just because I can't take that chance of that table snapping with us before we go down, because then we'll get hurt, bad. So.
I remember it was like a hole in it. It was just like, boom.
Yeah, they went right through the metal, like right through it was perfect. They couldn't have found a better table for that spot because it looked so vicious. It was the first pin, and then we got the other one. We put Stevie through the table and we got the pin. And then I remember we went to Super Bomb Raven and he hit the back of his neck.
Yeah, his head just like bomb. And then
that was brutal.
And Fonzie came in, fucking Dreamer came in, 911 came in. I mean, that was.
Todd Gordon came in. There were so many. I watched it and I said to myself, how in the hell did I remember all these spots? Like, how did I remember all this shit? The Dudleys came in. I mean, we super bombed every one of them, and they gave us our own finish. We got right up, didn't even sell it. I love that. I don't know who came up with that, but I was like, that's fucking hot. I was like, good, we're gonna do that.
I love it.
I'm up there, like, oh shit, now I know what they feel, man. Because you should see their faces, man, back in the day. When guys would be like, yo, you're working the pit bulls. I mean, especially Simon Diamond and Steve Corino. Okay. We were in NWA and we had the belts in ECW, but we would be allowed to go to NWA and work a little bit. And they put the US titles on us over there as well. And I remember we had to work them and they had to do the job. And these guys are getting all bent about it. I mean, I remember somebody told me they did a shoot promo for our video and Corino was bitching, saying the worst tag team they ever had to wrestle against was the Pitbulls. That's what he said. When you listen to all these other old timers, they'll tell you we're the smoothest motherfuckers out there. I'm like, what is your problem, bro? I haven't even hurt you. I haven't like done anything to you for you even to talk that way. So I never really got along with him after that.
I was never a fan.
Come on, go to the gym once in a blue moon. You think you're Dusty Rhodes. You're not even heavy like Dusty. I can believe Dusty's shit because he's got 300 pounds behind him.
Yeah,
You're fucking
Carino is what?
160 pounds soaking wet. And now his son is working off of his name to get booked places. Get out, get over it.
What I always wondered, I would always hear, and I'm believe me, I am not plugging RF video for all the people watching, but they used to record the fan cams. And I used to buy the fan cams. I wanted to see everything. But they'd always talk about how the Dudleys were almost started another riot. So they would always edit. They'd say Paul Heyman had to have them edit it out for lawsuits. Your crowd seems smart enough to know that if somebody was coming out there yelling at them, they're just going to go along with it and play with it. Did they really try to incite riots where they went, or was that all just kind of blown out of proportion?
Well, they were trying to get a reaction from the crowd. So they'll insult them as much as they can. That's why they were healed. I mean, I love the original Dudleys with Big Dick Dudley and Bubba. They were, look, I had no problem with them guys. Like I said, they worked. When we worked with them, they were very, very easy and very workable. Okay. We never had a problem with them guys. The only time we had a problem with them was once Paul Heyman told us to go out and do autographs. And they happened to be walking through the crowd while we were doing autographs, which is a no. Especially if we're wrestling them. People would expect us to get up and attack them and beat the shit out of them. So I remember Paul Heyman told Devon, well, you guys fucked up, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? And they're like, you fucking walked out there while the Pitbulls were doing autographs. You know that's a no-no. And I don't know why you did it. You fucking, Gary's going to come back and you have a fucking problem. Because they knew how we were. So I went up to him. I was like, what the fuck you doing, bro? You know, like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Paul told me you're going to come up to me and yell at me, and I apologize, and I didn't mean it, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's cool, you know, it's all good, brother. I said, I'm not making a big stink about it, bro. I said, we work together all the time. I said, I have no problem, especially I'm not going to argue over something stupid. I said, but just don't let it happen again. You know, and if they let it happen again, then they would, you know, feel the lash. You know, but toward the end of ECW, man, it just seemed like some of the guys were getting aggravated with each other. You know, like one night the Dudleys would be against the Gangsters, and the Gangsters would bring a dildo to the ring, and Bubba would get all offended and shit and pissed off and come back in the locker room being all mad and wanting to fight everybody. And at that point he was helping Paul Heyman find buildings for us to work at. You know, that's how Bubba got his foot in the door deep with ECW, because he became one of the guys that would go out and find buildings. And he was smart that he did that. And that gave him a little bit of more upstanding, you know, in the company, you know. So Paul, you know, I mean, of course, the nights that we were at those buildings, they were main event, you know, which I didn't care. I mean, I'd rather get done early and be ready, you know, I'll be honest with you. I really never wanted to be main event if we didn't have to. I mean, I never wanted to be heavyweight champion when I was going against Shane. I mean, that wasn't the plan. I was already television champ, so I didn't have to win that belt again. And I never wanted to be heavyweight champion. I never wanted that stress and that, you know, have that. It's a lot of stress, man, to have that strap. And you know, we were always tag champions wherever me and my partner went. I don't care where we were. We always won the belt, always. But being a singles and being the heavyweight champ, to me, that was a lot of work.
I thought Shane did a good job, because he had that belt probably more than anyone, long time period. I thought he was a great heavyweight champ. I thought Sandman was good. Yeah, Raven was good.
Once he broke my neck, that's when Shane got over like fucking Rover as a heel. I mean, it was like people were jumping the guardrail to try to kill him. That's white heat, you know, in our business. That's like awesome. I mean, that's me. That means we had that crowd. We had them, and they believed everything we fucking did. You know, and it was awesome. I mean, I know we'll never forget that night, how we planned that and set that up, and it worked great.
I didn't like when Funk won the title at the pay-per-view.
That was yeah, he was 60 years old then.
Like, I
Still
get
doing moonsaults,
the feel-good moment, and like I understood what Heyman was going for, but I mean, what he dropped it a month later to Sabu, but it was kind of like, everybody knew this was the one time going in, you knew. But the thing, let me ask you
Yeah,
that I know I didn't like was they had the banquet for Funk the night before, the big
yeah, I remember that. Yes.
and I bought the VHS tape so I could watch. I remember New Jack cut a 55-minute fucking promo, but Raven was the only guy that wasn't there. And I guess Heyman was like, well, I don't want you there because you're going up against him tomorrow night. That would look stupid. But yet all the other heels were there. I didn't understand the logic in that.
I'm sitting here now and I didn't even realize Raven wasn't there because I was working on still selling my gimmick because I was ready to come back. I mean, I was ready to do the pay-per-view against Shane that night. I was ready, bro. You don't even know. But that's not what they wanted. So they wanted it their way. So yeah, I didn't know what that was about, especially wrestling twice. Didn't he have to wrestle 2 times or something?
Funk, yeah, he had the 3-way match that he went over, and then Raven came down, and because Raven did that drop toe hold on the chair and split him hard. I mean, because he was pouring a lot of blood in that toward the end of that, and it was quick. But for me, barely 5 minutes, I think, with everybody running in and their grandma.
But it was, I think Paul was trying to be very respectful to Funker, because he gave us that rub to get to that pay-per-view. So that's what I think it was about. Believe me, Sabu. I mean, Taz wanted to be main. Well, I think he was main event against Sabu, right?
They were like the co-main event, and the match. I remember, like, I didn't hate the match, but I knew when you have a 3-year build-up, it's not going to live up to it. Yeah. And I give him credit; they did the double turn where Sabu turns heel, Taz turns face, Fonzie bets against him, and everything. But the match itself, the styles, I don't think ever really meshed well together.
Yeah, like I said, but look, they built that up for 3 years. Okay, so at least it had your attention.
Oh yeah,
we had your sack for 3 years waiting on that match, so you did watch it. That's all that matters.
That was the shirt with them facing off each other.
Yes,
I have that shirt somewhere. I had a lot of ECW shirts. I sold a lot of them, which is really stupid because I could have sold them for quadruple the money if I would have held on to them a little.
Dude, I find a bunch of them around here. I'm like, I'm gonna sell this. My girl's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I got my jackets in there. No, you're not.
Oh, you got the jacket, the varsity
I got
jacket?
the original. I got a jacket from ICP. When I was bodyguarding them guys, they gave me a beautiful, beautiful jacket. But I have the original ECW one. Believe me, I got people calling me up from all over the place. They want to buy it. I'm not selling it, man.
Yeah, I think Damien
got to give me a lot of money for that.
Or I think Damien Kane either sold his or he's trying to sell it.
Oh yeah, he'll sell it. But mine means I have a lot of memories with my jacket. So I got a lot of Roberto's jackets too. From Japan, I got my first jacket. I may be bringing December 18th in Philadelphia. I may be bringing my first Roberto's jacket and from my first tour in Japan. And that's with Yokozuna, Vader, Bam Bam, Brian, the Killer Bees were with us, all them fucking guys. And I got a picture of myself in front of the Tokyo Palace with those guys with that jacket on. So I'm debating on selling that jacket or not. I've been talking about it. My girl's like, nah, man, they got to earn it. And I'm like, I understand. I said, but I'm going to autograph it so they can't say they went there to Japan and earned it because they didn't. They bought it from me.
Now, you mentioned that before we go. What are you doing on the 18th? Where are you going to be?
I will be in Philadelphia at the original ECW arena, home of the ECW, home of the Hardcore Hall of Fame, which I'm in. I'm in the rafters up there, so it's going to be great. With Ric Flair's coming, Sting's coming. It's going to be a party, man. We're there till 3.
I think we covered. I won't be in attendance. I was not invited, but
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to see. And Todd's going to be there.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be in like the same area. They're putting all the ECW crew in one area this time. We're going to be separated a little bit.
I'm curious, is Dreamer going to be there?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. I would have thought he would be.
Because Dreamer got, after that Dark Side of the Ring, he got canceled, and he hasn't.
I know. I haven't seen anything with him on it.
I haven't either.
He's gonna be, yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of people gonna be there. I mean, it's a fucking, it's a jam-packed show. I mean, no bullshit. So
Francine is there.
I think she was there last time. I don't think she's there this time. I think Kimona Wanalea will be there this time.
Fonzie, I'm assuming.
I'm not. No, I don't think Fonzie. He was there last time.
Hack will be there though, right?
Yeah, Hack will be there because he's right down the street. He'll just come and hang out. Now, the next day, we're going to be in Allentown, Pennsylvania for another huge Christmas autograph signing. And a lot of ECW guys are going to be at that one as well.
Gonna have Raven there?
Yes, I mean, Raven's going to be there. I think Shane Douglas, Too Cold Scorpio, Pitbull, Sandman, of course. There's a lot of guys that are going to be that one too.
Tell Raven I emailed Raven. Tell him to answer me. I'm looking for a comic book. I offered to buy it from him, but he hadn't. He did right. There's another show on the YouTube called the Juice Pro Wrestling Podcast. I do watch them. They were asking me like, hey, how do I get a hold of Raven? And I was like, Twitter. And they're like, well, how'd you interview him? I was like, just asked. He seemed to kind of like me, so we did it. I guess he quoted them like an exuberant amount of money for like a 40-minute interview. It's like, I think that's saying he doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah. That's like Rob, he's the same way. If you don't want to work, and he'll tell you, all right, 15,000, I'll come in.
He told our local,
I can't afford that, I can't afford that. Well, then I'm staying home, he'd rather stay home. I don't blame him.
Yeah, our local tried to book Rob Van Dam, and I remember the guy was like, yeah, he wanted $25,000. Like, no, he didn't want to come here. There's a big difference.
Yes. He really didn't want to go there if he had 25 grand.
That sucks because I've never seen him live. Even he never, when he was in WWE, did he come here. And ECW was supposed to come here, but it folded beforehand, which I always kind of questioned. Was like, why is ECW coming here? They're not even on TV. Why stay in the East Coast and I'll still be watching you for at least another 10 years.
Yeah. But the 18th is going to be special for me. They're actually starting my documentary, Secrets of the Pitbulls tag team. I'm really excited about that because we started at that building and I wanted to get that building in, you know what I mean? Like in the shot. It was very important to me to get my partner name up in rafters, you know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that we got that shot. And very happy. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Hopefully my boy that's doing it will be able to talk to Ric Flair and maybe get a quote from Flair about us.
That would be
nice.
I remember Flair buying kamikazes when I was a kid at the
I used to hang out
Double Tree here. So
yeah, I'd have to tell him, I'd be like, Rick, I love you, baby, but I gotta go, man. I gotta get my 6 hours. I have to get 6 hours back in the day. And I was young, but I still needed at least 6 hours because I knew I had to get up, work out at Steamboat's gym. Then on the way home, I had to stop and get Bush beer for the Stud, Robert Fuller, and Maniac Matt Bourne. So, and the Nasty Boys, they were our boys back then. Same level, they just started out like we did. And, we turned Vince down and went to, New Japan. They took our spot and went right away to Vince, Then they went to WCW, I think. I don't know. They had a good run with Vince. I mean, we had great matches with the Nasty Boys. I mean, we would have a good time, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they would rib a little too far. That's when we get mean, And my partner, he would just pick you up and slam you on your head. He don't care. That's how he did it. You push his buttons the wrong way, he'll slam you on your face, man. And he did that to them. I just remember hearing Knobs go, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then Brian, same thing. The other guy the same way, man. They were just like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "Man, we're gonna be fighting after this." Man, I just know it. But it didn't turn out that bad. We didn't have a fight or nothing like that. It was just like, look, they put icy hot in our trunks and
fuck that.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, my balls were on fire, brother. I'm telling you, 10 minutes in the match, I'm looking at them going, motherfuckers, I'm gonna kill you, man. You have no idea. The ribs coming back to you, man.
I heard they were actually tough guys.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we beat the shit out of them some nights, dude. I'm not kidding. We beat the shit out of them. and they took it. They took it because they'd be by the pool, and they start breaking our balls, and Anthony would get mad, and I'm like, man, just blow it off. They're just trying to push our buttons, because they say, oh, what, you guys gangsters, you gangster mafias. I'm like, you better shut the fuck up, dude. I said, I'm gonna bury you in North Carolina. Never find your body.
They beat the shit out of Ken Shamrock, I heard. I heard they fucked him up bad.
Dude, we saved his life.
And he was a tough guy.
But when he's drunk, he's just like any other guy. What I mean? He was intoxicated, dude. He called our room up. I answered the phone. And I'm like, what's up, Kenny? He's like, where the fuck are the nasty boys? I said, they're down the hall. We were outside. We were an outside gimmick. And you look down and they would have weddings by the pool and all this shit. It was a nice hotel. And like later on, we got an apartment instead. We didn't want to stay at the hotel. We got an apartment for $485 a month. It was great with a pool, tanning bed. We had nothing in the apartment, but we had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It was cool as fuck, man. I'd rather do that than stay in a hotel. At least we went shopping every week and we'd spend $300 in food and mostly pasta. What else are we gonna eat? You know what I mean? And then like I said, Kenny, he came up. All I heard, I told him, I said, they're down the hallway, and all I heard was boom, and then knocking on my door, pounding on my door. Actually, it was the security guard. And he's like, you gotta help me, man. This little black guy, like this big, like had to be 4'5". I'm like, what? He goes, man, they're killing this guy. I'm like, what? So Anthony got up, I got up, we ran down the, outside the hallway, and I'm like, oh shit. And there's fucking one of the nasty boys, and they had Kenny's leg, and they were dragging him outside. He was ready to throw him off the railing, man. He would have been, that was a 4 foot, well, figure 4 floors, 1 concrete. He would have never lived, wouldn't have made it, because he was out cold. He was already knocked the fuck out, because afterwards I found out what happened was he came in the room. Brian was sitting, Knobs was sitting on the bed. He clipped Knobs. Knobs was already out anyway. He just fell back, and the other nasty was on the phone with his girl. And back then we had those old beige, brownish rotary phones that were in hotels. You remember those big fuckers? Yeah. They're metal at the bottom. Well, he had that phone that, he got that phone, put in his fist, and he nailed Kenny right in the face with it. So he broke his orbital bone where his eye is, shattered it. He fell into the seat, and then he just got on top of him and started laying him in and beat the fuck out of Kenny. But Kenny was drunk. He couldn't fight. Yeah. And then he hooked his leg, and he was going to throw him over the rail. We had to tackle him. Like, as soon as we busted the door open, we ran, both of us ran in, and we just tackled Sags, man, and got him to the ground and said, no. Nobody's dying tonight, dude. There's no fucking way we're going to be here and somebody's going to die. Because I heard other guys were up there earlier, but they took off. We were right down the hall. We had to do something. And we weren't going to let somebody die on our watch anyway. It wasn't going to happen unless we were doing the killing. That's how I look at it. So, but yeah, we saved his ass. And I remember talking to his dad, and we went and seen him in the hospital. He was in the hospital for 3-4 weeks easily. Jesus. It was bad. It could have been worse. He could have lost his eye. Very, very close from losing eyesight. And that would have ruined his career.
So Ken won't be there on the 18th, I take it, at the
I don't think so. Plus Knobs, I think he's still in the hospital, still recovering. Yeah. I hit him up. I talk to him every once in a while. He's doing good. I stay in touch. We go way back. You got to remember, I go way back with the Nasty Boys.
Tell Ric Flair I said hi.
Yeah, I hope I could get near him to talk to him. You see what I'm saying? It's really crazy, dude. You know what I mean? But if we make eye contact, that's a different story. He'll come up to me. That's how we are.
Next week we've got our Christmas show, so you're gonna have to tell us all about everything that happened there that you can share on the air. That
yeah, yeah, we're finishing the women's wrestling documentary also. So there's like 1 or 2 more interviews. That's all we need. It's gonna be good. I'm really excited. I'm actually got to get all my gimmicks together tomorrow when I'm bringing, so Also, check it out. I think we're gonna. If you check out Brandon's Wrestling Oddities, look him up because he's the one bringing me in. We're also going to be doing a virtual signing right after that signing. You know, that night. I got Just Incredible will be at our table. Devin Moore will be at our table. Another guy from Combat Zone, I forget his name. He just won the deathmatch strap. I don't know his name though. He's
Malone, Raver.
I think his name is
G Raver or something like that.
Something like that.
I'm trying to think of the deathmatch guys. G Raver, Alex.
He just won one of the straps for that. He does a lot of
Gage, is it?
No, it's not.
I haven't seen Gage in a while.
Yeah, I'd remember if it was him. It's not him. But he seems like a nice dude. He'll be there. Yeah, so we'll be right next to Todd Gordon and them guys at the table. So when you guys come down, just check us out. It'll be pretty cool.
Remember, I won't be there. Don't let that stop you from going. Just say hi to Todd. Say hi to Sam. Tell Sam, man, I really want to talk to him about when he was Jim in WCW. I talked to him about Jim for hours, but
he'd enjoy that, knowing Hack.
I would love to meet Hack, but pandemic. But yeah, we've got this, and then next week the Christmas episode. We'll talk all about that. I don't really have anything left to ask you this week.
I'm good, brother.
Then I guess we'll just see everybody next week.
Yeah, man. Happy holidays. Everybody be careful out there. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of accidents around here, man. If these snowbirds go back up north.
Yes.
Go back home. You can't drive in Florida. You have no clue what you're doing.
No. So next week's the big Christmas show. So we will see you guys next week.
Next week, man. All right, guys. Take it easy. Peace.